we make the sound of the satellite, breaking through gravity. I am Jagger 67. I'm affected, you're selected. I want you with your twisted hair and your lip ring stare.
The road to the World Championship reaches South America, and the margin for error has never been smaller. Welcome everybody to the Autodromo Termas de Rio Hondo in Argentina. The ISRAIC arrives for the penultimate round of Season 7. 9 races have brought us here, countless battles, breakthrough victories and championship twists have shaped one of the closest title fights in recent memory. Now, it all comes down to this South American doubleheader. At the top of the standings, Elliott Hall continues to lead the way. The rookie sensation arrives in Argentina holding a 14-point advantage over Jack Tolchard, but with Ed Cantwell just 2 points further back, the pressure is mounting with every lap. And remarkably, the top 6 drivers still have a mathematical chance of becoming world champion. Every overtake matters, every strategy call matters, and every single point could decide the destiny of this championship. And to call it with me here this afternoon is once again none other than the lovely Craig McDonald.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me back today.
Brilliant. So, it's your brother actually on pole position here for Argentina, Craig, so I will let you take us on that fateful lap.
It is indeed. So, as we get into our fastest lap, we are on board with my brother Thomas McDonald for Macca Motorsport. Now, he will admit he's not having the best of season so far, currently sitting in 19th of the driver's standing, but I know he would be over the moon with his pole position today. So as he's just come down the start-finish straight into turn 1, but positioned it quite nicely so he can attack into turn 2. As he makes his way around, now this for me is an area of the circuit all eyes will be on today. As you can see here, he's now onto this big back straight with power down. If a car gets close to the car in front as you enter this section, overtake opportunities are really going to present themselves, so much so that's an area to keep an eye on. As he makes his way around the right-hander, this is the other section where overtake opportunities should be able to present themselves. As we start coasting around this left-hander, he makes his way down, slams on the brake, goes a bit deep, so you never know, we might see some dive bombs going into that corner. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So he catches it nicely, but as he makes his way around into his little chicane, he does his left, does his right, last final left, but as you can see in the distance, he can see the beautiful paddock, so he knows he's only got a few more laps to do to keep it within limits. As he flies all the way down, slams on the brakes into this beautiful little right-hander, one more turn to go, over, straight down, power down, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Tom McDonald, Macca Motorsport, put the fastest lap in today.
Fantastic stuff. Tom McDonald takes pole position then in Argentina. It's the first time he's taken pole position for the Macca Motorsport team since season number 6. He lines up alongside Toby Byrne in P number 2, another man who has struggled quite a lot this season. He's in the bottom half of the driver standings and he lines up on P2 looking for some return to form today. Gareth Lennon won last time out in a very challenging Arctic Circle Grand Prix. He lines up in P3, poised for another good position today. Kevin Jacobs lines up in P number 4. Ed Cantwell, championship contender, he's in 3rd place with 69 points. He starts in the top 5, and Craig McDonald backing up his brother from P6. We move on to Season 2 champion Josh Martin, lines up in P7. He's ahead of Andrew Pavia. Andrew Pavia won a race not too long ago, and he's been on good form ever since, so he's a threat within that top 5 in the championship. Douglas Anderson lines up in P number 9, just edging out his fellow compatriot Scotsman Craig Evans, finishing out the top 10. Move on to the likes of Zach Swader just outside behind his teammate in P11, and then it's Reinhard Ecker under pressure for that team disconnect seat. He lines up in P12, he'll be looking to move forward today. Elliott Hall, the championship leader, qualifies P13 outside of the points. The gap keeps on shrinking for that man. He really needs to get into the groove, and his championship rival Jack Tolchard is just behind. Then it's Joshua Wood, not had the best of fortune since his win in round number 1. He lines up P15, and the defending champion now mathematically ruled out, of course. He will not be champion again. Can he go out with some grace? Colin McAllister then lines up P17. Horrible race for him last time out in the Arctic Circle. Really nothing that he could have done differently, I'm afraid. Philip Blum lines up in P19. He's just ahead of Callum Spencer lining up in P20. Callum Spencer having a difficult season, as is JSR as a whole. And you'll see it's an NAR JSR as Olav Udvan lines up in P21, just edging out Jonathan Carrera, who only just scored his first points of the season last time out in Norway. Unfortunately, looks like it's back to business as usual. Argentina, of course, not hosting a Formula 1 Grand Prix since 1998, but the ISRAIC doesn't return. It comes here for the first ever attempt here, and this circuit built in 2008 and is, of course, the host of the Argentine Moto Grand Prix. But it is time for the ISRAIC, ladies and gentlemen. It's the penultimate round. It's the South American doubleheader. We're lights out, and away we go. Who's getting the better start? Tom McDonald and Toby Bennett looking pretty even off the start, but Tom McDonald sweeps into the lead and maintains that pole position. It looks like Gareth Lennon looking to go around the outside of Byrne, nothing undoing on that opportunity, and it looks like Kevin Jacobs looking a little bit feisty, looking to potentially send it up the inside of Gareth Lennon. He hasn't been able to do so far though, and he'll have to pull back, but now he's getting a better exit. He's going to go to them to go all the way around the outside. You said on the pole position lap, Craig, that this could be an opportunity for overtaking. Kevin Jacobs is looking to prove that theory for you as he goes around the outside of Gareth Lennon, uses that slipstream to pull him along, but Gareth Lennon's not giving up. He's going to send it back down the inside to maintain that podium position. Last week's race winner, very defensive on that start, and Ed Cantwell looking to get in the action. He's the best of our championship protagonists in terms of position. He'll be looking to get a move on as we see Zach Swader looking to go up the inside. Who's that he's going to the inside of? It's Douglas Anderson, actually, and he's looking like he's going to squeeze into the top 10. Great start for Zach Swader. He's moved forward, and not so good of a start with a teammate who has fallen backwards.
Well, the one thing I want to point out, I just almost jinxed myself then, is, who's just gone around Douglas Anderson? There was a bit of contact. Can he get the car back on track? It doesn't look like he's going to do that. Is that Douglas's race over already? Oh, and Philip Blum too.
Safety car boards and flags, safety car boards and flags.
Because them cars need moving. Hopefully when we see the replays on those, we'll see what actually happened, Toby. But I was just about to jinx it, as I've always done before. I was about to say the start of the race, everything's nice and clean, and then lo and behold, this incident happened. But as we ride on board with Douglas Anderson, so he's looking on the inside, he just catches no, he looks like he's fine. Oh, does he get tagged or anything, or does he just lose it? Hopefully we'll see from another driver's perspective. But for me, it just looked like he might have just got clipped from the rear. Let's have a look. We're on board with Philip Blum now. So obviously he's bombing into the bend. He's getting maybe a little tag. Does he just... there's Douglas in front. Does he just not apply the brakes enough? Oh, he looks for the upside. Oh, nope. Oh, I'm looking at the completely wrong section. And then, yep, just a load of cars take each other out there, Toby. It just likes a whole bit of carnage.
I think we've had potentially 2 or 3 separate incidents all occurring in the same part of the circuit, so let's ride on board with Christian Vrazilov. Of course, we say mathematically eliminated for the championship now. He was hoping he was going to finish with a bit of grace. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. He's been involved with this incident, and wow, that's very strange. Contact between Blum and Vrazilov in some way. It looks like there might be a secondary hit there as we see what looks like a Scuderia Alitalia. That far down it must be Marcus Townend, but Christian Vrazilov with a very nice pirouette burnout turn gets himself going again, gets away scot-free with that. But yes, some kind of incident between Blum and Vrazilov. Here we go. So this is Marcus Townend. We might actually get a view now on what's happened ahead of us. So Marcus Townend minding his own business. He's made up a position by the look of it, and he's just looking to see what he can capitalise on. We can see cars going left, right and centre, and Blum looks like he goes into the side and then he gets caught on the spinning, and wow, Marcus Townend caught out in an incident of no fault of his own. He's completely a victim there. That's a really, really weird incident. For Douglas Anderson, it almost looked like Douglas Anderson lost control on his own. And then looks like Philip Blum, if we could just try and see ahead, looks like he loses control into the side of Vrazilov. Vrazilov then collects him on the returning. Yeah, that is a front row seat of Marcus Townend's race getting shattered in front of him, and the parting of the Red Sea for Callum Spencer as he survives. But yeah, what a strange incident. I really don't know how to call that one. It almost looks like some cars lost control on their own accord and was just caught out in separate incidents. I don't know. Christian Vrazilov survives. Everyone else is... oh, it says Christian Vrazilov survives, but he's actually in the pits, so I don't know if he's come into pit after that to repair some damage or if he is out of the Grand Prix. Nevertheless, green flag racing resumes again here in Termas in Argentina. That incident is of course noted by the stewards, and I'm sure they'll enjoy looking into that. Gareth Lennon immediately on the charge, putting the pressure on Toby Byrne for P2. This man is on fine form, took his first victory since season 4 last time out in Norway, and he's looking very feisty and fast here today in them podium positions, really hustling the back of the Alitalia car of Byrne up ahead, and he's really pushing him along, and it looks like Tom McDonnell has absolutely blitzed the field so far. 3.8 second gap to the next nearest car, and there's a little bit of a train going on behind Toby Byrne, the Toby train you could call it, and Gareth Lennon pushing him along because he's got Kevin Jacobs pushing him quite far behind, and then Ed Cantwell. Ed Cantwell is the man in the hot seat, make no mistake about it this afternoon, Craig. He has an opportunity, comes into this round on 69 points. To put it into perspective, if he finishes where he is right now, he would gain 10 points, which would put him on 79, which would be 7 points behind Elliot Hall going into the finale, as the first lap incident is ruled a racing incident. Craig Evans, I thought, was going for a move there up the inside of Andrew Pavia, not able to make it stick on this occasion, Craig.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Toby. Them little first few incidences, it does look like someone did come back out, because we've only got 3 cars now that are stationary in the pit, so it looks like Razlov has managed to come back out, but how much that's obviously now going to impact his race because he's so far behind. As we ride on board with Joshua Wood, who is looking at the back end of Jack Tolchard, really make a move, and we've just moved back to Callister. Is he going to look up the inside? Oh, he does. Can he make it stick? Nope. Josh Wood is like, nope, see you later, Colin. I am shutting that door. But Colin will not give this up without a fight. We know what this guy is like. Will he look at another opportunity? He's just biding his time as he makes around a few bends as we move backwards to Olaf Obven, who is sitting very nicely on the back of Callum Spencer, who is currently holding the fastest lap of the race. Very surprising, sitting all the way down in 16th. He's holding the fastest lap. As we ride on board with Toby Byrne, he's got a 1.6 gap to Gareth Lennon, who will need to close that down. And here we go, we've got some replays. I'm presuming this is from some incidents before. So Gareth Lennon, this is the area again I mentioned at the start. Look at the absolute speed he catches up into this. Nice little move into that. Toby's just like, oh, I'm trying to hold it, but obviously Gareth, the way he goes into it, and I think that the way they're slowing all down now is that's when the safety car was deployed, Toby.
Yeah, so that was a replay then of how Gareth Lennon made the move on Toby Byrne. We said he was hustling him on the safety car restart, got the job done fairly clean and clinically. The Northern Irishman up into P2 looking very fast, on flying form in the latest 2 rounds of the championship. We watch Ed Cantwell, the man in contention for the Season 7 championship, is following the man who won the Season 4 championship, Kevin Jacobs. Of course, this week, Nemesis Racing confirming that they will be leaving the series at the end of this season. They will be hoping to take one last victory in both the Drivers' and Teams Championship. Elliot Hall is not doing too good, as we speak of the devil. He's not doing too great in the hunt for that Drivers' Championship in this race so far. He's outside of the points, and the points are just there ahead of him in the form of Craig Evans. So he's moved up from P13 into P11, and he's obviously that's through staying out of trouble with the earlier incidents. So we see Andrew Pavia getting a little bit of a run on his compatriot Zach Swader looking to the outside, but it's a risky place to make a manoeuvre here, so he will hold back and gets a bit of a tank slapper as well to slow down his progress just a little bit. As we can see, Olav Odvin on the timing screen has just lost a couple of positions as well. And we have a virtual safety car now being deployed. I wonder, is that Olav Odvin is in the pits? So I think Olav Odvin has been retired from the race. What's happened to Olav Odvin? We just saw him falling down the timing screen here, Craig. So he's sending it on the inside, much similar to what we saw Gareth Lennon do, but different to Gareth Lennon. Callum Spencer's been able to hold that, I think, around the outside. I don't see anyone in his wing mirror, so I assume they're side by side at this point. Into the next corner. No! Round goes Olav, and I'm going to assume he does not get going again, so I don't know. Another clumsy incident, Craig. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it just seems crazy because, like you said, as they come round, as you can see here, Callum Spencer's, like I said, he's not backing out without a fight. He's managed to get side by side, and as they hit the brakes, Callum's giving him all the space. He does. I wonder if he just catches that curb and gets, as you said, gets that little tank slapper, that little connection, just pushes him round. And for some reason, I'm just very surprised he didn't manage to get it back going, but That's very unfortunate for Olaf Obven. That's him out of the race. As we can see, the green flag is on, and Toby Byrne was ready and raring for that green flag. He is ready to put some power down and catch Gareth Lennon. But one thing I wanted to point out, Toby, as we were saying before, Elliot Hall is really chasing down this title, but we have first and second who are currently outside of the points, which leaves obviously third to sixth, you said, are mathematically possible, who are all scoring points, which then will leave, as if it stands the way it stands, will leave the end season. Oh, sorry, as we see Joshua Wood just going, sorry, Colin, I'm going to take this place. Those two are going to have such a battle this evening. Hopefully they can make it stick. Colin is not giving it up without a fight. Will Josh look again? He does look again. Can he make it stick this time? Look at the way they get away with no contact there. But Colin's like, nope, that door is slammed shut. But as I was mentioning before, Toby, if the way it stands, obviously Elliot and Jack Polshard are not going to score any points as it stands. Going into the last race of the season, Toby, it's going to be all to play for.
Absolutely, like we say, Ed Cantwell is coming into the pit lane now, but Ed Cantwell is third in the championship. He comes into this round on 69 points. Ed Cantwell still, surprisingly, the only one of the top 4 in the championship to not take a race victory this season. So he's done it through consistency, and he comes into this round on a total of 69 points. As we look at the championship leader, he's up to P7 as a result of those pit stops. But if Ed Cantwell does finish 5th here today, he will gain 10 points, which will put him from 69 points to 79 points. And that will, of course, mean he goes into the final round with 7 points gap to make up on Elliot Hall. So it's still quite a tall order. Incident involving cars 95 and 16 is a racing incident, as we say. We didn't think that Callum did anything wrong. I think Olaf just took a bit too much curve, as he says. See, Jack Tolchard is furiously trying to get that Team Disconnect car of Reinhard Ecker out of the way between him and his championship rival. Because, of course, Jack Tolchard is only 14 points behind Elliot, and he would have really been hoped closing in a similar fashion to that of Ed Cantwell here today, but so far it's looking like it's Ed Cantwell's day. See McAllister really pressuring Jack Tolchard now as well, and we have that ding-dong battle between McAllister and Wood following. So we have some more team announcements for the next season, and I know everyone looks forward to these. You like to see what people are doing, and of course we have the wonderful MAGA Motorsport team committing to McLaren for next season. Norwegian American Racing have committed to Cadillac in response to that, as have Team Disconnect. So, Team Disconnect in the hunt for the championship. They're going to Cadillac next season. JR Racing, who we can see, one of the drivers, which is Pi McAllister, is committed to Porsche. ART also committing to Porsche. We're really starting to flush out the grid here. I think, is that all of our announcements? No, it's not. JSR commit to Peugeot. So that is everyone now confirmed with a manufacturer of car for next season, Craig, apart from whoever gets their application accepted to replace Nemesis Racing. So very exciting stuff coming for next season, but if we turn our attention back to this afternoon, we can see Jack Tolchard closing. Is he going to be able to make a move on Reinhard Ecker? No, he's not. These guys are going very long on this set of tyres. To put it into perspective, Tom McDonnell and Gareth Lennon and Toby Byrne and Andrew Pavia all still have not pitted. So it's Ed Cantwell actually leading that undercut attempt at the moment, and I wonder, will that put Ed Cantwell anywhere closer to the podium? Because the more points he can gain, as we see Zach Swader coming out of nowhere. What a move! What an absolute send by Zach Swader to sneak one up the inside of Kevin Jacobs. That came out of nowhere. Great stuff from Zach Swader, and we'll have to see how that pays off for him when everyone comes back and does their next pit cycle. But great move from Zach Swader. I think he's caught Kevin Jacobs napping a bit there, because Kevin was cutting about in P4 for the longest time. Do any of these gentlemen come into the pit lane this time around? No, they do not. So we're just over half race distance, Craig. These gentlemen are going long, which will be hurting their lap time at the moment, but it means, of course, when they come out for that second stint, they will have the fresher tyres, whereas Ed Cantwell will be rapidly closing in on those who were ahead of him who have not pitted because of his tyre life advantage, but it means he might have to play the defensive a little bit later on.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, but I'm just watching the timing board there, Toby. Tom McDonnell is still putting a gap on Gareth Lennon on these stops on 8 lap holds off, so he just feels that car today. He knows what it's doing. But obviously, I'm not going to be a little bit biased right now. But they know, MAGA Motorsport know, that Craig McDonnell is still within the championship fight. could Team Orders play a little bit? Because as you know, he's on that train for that undercut. Could they get Tom McDonnell in, get him back out, and bunch up the pack so Craig can come in and snatch more points? Who knows? But we'll have to see how that all plays out as we ride on board with Joshua Wood, who's putting in an absolutely cracking performance today. Obviously, had a nice little battle with Colin McAllister before. Still hunkering on to the back of him. He will not let him die. As I can see now on that panel board, Gareth Lennon has made his way into the pits. But it does look like, again, Toby, the top three are just ever so happy on these laps.
Speaking of Craig McDonnell, he's really stuck to the back of Ed Cantwell during that undercut phase, so he's not let Ed Cantwell get away from him, and these two could be our big winners. They're our main undercut threats, so where will they come out in relation to Gareth Lennon then? Gareth Lennon was into P2, and Gareth Lennon has come out ahead of these gentlemen, so they won't get past Lennon, so they come out in a respective 5th and 6th. But we're still waiting for Tom, Toby and Andrew to make their pit stops, so still keep an eye on that, because I'm not sure what the gap was to Cantwell to Lennon before the pit stops, but it's now just 2.8 seconds. See, Elliot Hall has filtered back outside the points once again, so he still has a little bit of work to do, but he's right on the back of Craig Evans. He has every opportunity, and he has his teammate of Kevin Jacobs ahead. Kevin Jacobs could, as you say, what you was thinking Macca might do, we could see the same from Nemesis here. Kevin Jacobs could start backing up Craig Evans into Elliot Hall here to give him an opportunity, but the only caveat of doing such a thing is he's inadvertently giving Craig Evans DRS as well to defend from Elliot Hall. As we can see, Tom McDonnell into the pits, Byrne into the pits, Pavia really closed in on Byrne towards the end of that stint, and he's now in the pits as well. So now we're going to get a taste of what this undercut is, and look at the pace of Cantwell. It was 2.8 seconds at the beginning of this lap, Craig. It's now 1.8 seconds. Ed Cantwell has taken a second out of Gareth Lennon this lap, and he's pulling Craig McDonnell along with him nicely. This could be a good day in the office for Macca Motorsport. You obviously mentioned Wood. They used Tom McDonnell to back the others into Craig McDonnell for the championship. I'm not sure I'd want to be on that Christmas dinner table if he was asked to do that. However, in looking like he might be in a good position on his own, as we've undercutted Toby Byrne and we've undercutted Andrew Pavia. So Ed Cantwell up into P3. Craig McDonnell up into P4, and wow, Byrne just undercutted ever so slightly by Josh Martin. Josh Martin is out on the warmer tyres. Byrne will have DRS and hopefully look to get past him as soon as he can, but he's got to take a few corners warming those tyres up before he can do so, Craig.
Must admit, some of these little team tactics that are coming out today are playing dividend. As you can see, obviously, Macca Motorsport, Craig's done really well, started off in 6th, he's gained 2 positions, and like you said, he's sticking on the back of Ed Cantwell, just waiting for that opportunity to get onto that podium. But I really want to be a fly on the wall in Nemesis racing teams, like you said, around the dinner table. Because Elliot Hall, for me, has had this championship on one hand all season long. He, from the get-go, shown why he's ready to be champion, but then all of a sudden it just felt like he took a finger every race off that trophy. And I just think, what a Nemesis thinking about now. Like you said, now you can see we've got the other Nemesis up in 9th, and like you said before, could you start to see them back up just to try and get Elliot Hall some points on the board? You know, so it's going to go absolute to the wire. We've got 4 laps to go. Let's see what else pans out here.
It really feels like it's fallen apart for Nemesis Racing in the second half of this series. Of course, Elliot Hall has been the powerhouse for Nemesis Racing all season, and it's very easy to forget that this is Elliot Hall's first ever season, so he has never been in a championship fight, let alone in his first ever season. It's a tall task to ask of a rookie, and you would expect his more experienced teammate of Kevin Jacobs to be doing quite a bit more heavy lifting in returns of the team's championship, but he's just been unable to do so. He's had a good, I think he took pole position in Bahrain, but that's really about all we've seen from Kevin Jacobs. He's just not had the pace when it comes to race day. I think Andrew Pavia might be past Toby Byrne now as well. Toby Byrne's race really coming undone, second to P7. It's a horrible race weekend for Toby Byrne at the moment. Elliot Hall is still looking for a way around. Jack Tolchnad has finally got past Reinhard Ecker, but Reinhard Ecker looking like he wants to return a favour, and here we go, Elliot Hall sends it up the inside of Craig Evans to try and get into the points, but no, the Scotsman holds firm and denies Elliot Hall a free pass into the points, I don't think Craig Evans cares for the fact of a rookie championship being a possibility. He wants to work for it and earn every point he can to secure a double points finish for Northern Lights Racing, and denies the first attack from Elliot Hall. And Elliot Hall now knows that that was a dress rehearsal. He knows what he has to do, but Craig Evans will know when that is coming. He will have to find potentially another opportunity to get that move done. See Craig McDonald still all over the back of Ed Cantwell, but Ed Cantwell is just kissing that 1 second gap that he needs, and he has got it this time. So he does have DRS on Gareth Lennon, which will offer him some performance to defend against Craig McDonald behind within the straight line as well. So this is a little train for P2 and beyond, and it has big championship ramifications because Ed Cantwell has moved up into P3, Craig, as you don't know if you saw that graphic a little bit earlier, but that means if he scores 15 points here today, he goes into round 10, the finale, with a 2-point deficit to Elliot Hall. Elliot Hall needs every point he can get at this point, because right now, if this race finishes like this, Craig, it is literally a case of who beats who next time out.
I can't take my eyes off that timing board, Toby. Honest to God, like you said, the top 4 right now. Oh, as we see, Elliot Hall is trying again to go up that inside of Craig Evans, but Craig is getting his elbows out. He's saying, if you want to get past me, I'm not just going to give it to you. This championship, you have to earn it. Craig shutting that door nicely. As I was saying before, Toby, the top 4 right now, Craig McDonald is hunkering into the back of Ed Cantwell. Ed's really trying to stay on the back of Gareth Lennon to get that extra performance booster. But we're going into the last couple of laps now. Would one of them make a mistake? Will one try and grip it with both hands? But as we can see, we've got a little bit, like you said, a bit of a train going as we are jumping on board with Colin McAllister, who's looking up the inside. Again, I'm loving the racing today. Everyone's really putting on a performance of like attack, defend, but with very minimal contact. So so as Colin is sitting in P16th, he's trying to have that battle again with Josh Wood, which we've seen since the start, but now he also has to deal with this guy, Jonathan Carrero, who's really trying to put the hammer down to get past that Colin's car. Will he make it stick? Will he make that last little dive lunge? He looked at it. Can he keep it sticking? No, Colin is shutting the door. But as we go around these fair few bends, will Jonathan make a second attempt? Will he look at it? No, Toby, he's shutting that door. And again, I think for the last lap or two, there's got to be some attempts for overtakes here, left, right and centre.
I think we might have just found a new fan favourite on the ISRAIC calendar. What racing Tomas is producing for us here this afternoon. We are seeing some fantastic racing. There's a train from the front all the way to the back. In fact, it's only Kevin Jacobs who is working as the link between the two carriages. Andrew Pavia has obviously passed Toby Bennett and has left him for dust. He's actually cruised up to the back of Josh Martin. He's closed a 5-second gap to Martin, and we talked a little bit earlier, Craig, about how those drivers who go a bit longer will have the weapons to attack at the end, and Andrew Pavia looks like he's in the hot seat to do so. Not able to do anything on this occasion, goes a little bit wide and loses out on that opportunity, but make no mistake, he's looking like a threat to Josh Martin for that top 5 in these closing phases. He will really want to get past him to squeeze that out. Josh Martin desperately holding on. Josh Martin didn't really have an amazing qualifying. He's actually had a very solid, very under the radar race, Josh Martin, and it looks like he now has to work for it to get himself in the spotlight and earn that top 5 position as we come to start the final lap of the Argentine Grand Prix. What a race it's been. It's absolutely flown by, and it looks like Gareth Lennon might be dropping Ed Cantwell a little bit out of the DRS zone, which potentially could give Craig McDonald one last opportunity. Stay tuned for that. Will Andrew Pavia get an opportunity on Josh Martin, who's definitely not going to get DRS? I think DRS active on the front straight away as well. Yes, so Andrew Pavia closing in a little bit, reducing that area that he will need towards the back straight. And Craig McDonald, keep an eye on that timing board as well. Keep an eye on the timing board for Elliot Hall as well. He's still there. There's so much to play for on this final lap, Craig.
Yeah, as you can see, we're on board with Josh Martin. He's really holding off Andrew Pavia right now as we get onto this back long straight. Andrew Pavia will have the performance. As you can see, he's gaining. Will he do a last minute look? No, he's too far back on those ones. But as you can see, Josh Martin has had a very respectable race today. He's done really well battling with everyone, kept it where it needs to be, and putting some more points on the board for SimStaff as we are on board with Craig McDonald for Macca Motorsport. Is he left it a little too late? And as we come round the second to last bend, into the left-hander. And I'm proud to say that Thomas McDonnell for Macca Motorsport is your race winner for today. Well deserved for him, Toby.
Fantastic performance by Tom McDonnell, a class ahead of the field, just drove away with it. But what a race we've seen. Andrew Pavia really gave it everything. He got the fastest lap on the penultimate lap, but it wasn't enough. And he will cross the line in P6 just behind Josh Martin, who just holds on. And look at this train, Craig, all the way to the end. Elliot Hall is pushing. He's hustling. There's nothing more he can do. It's going to be another pointless weekend for Elliot Hall. His championship is beginning to slip away. He will go into the final round still with a points advantage, but Elliot Hall's 3 lives, his 9 lives if he was a cat, are officially up. He will go into the final round in Brazil, mano a mano with Ed Cantwell for that final spot. We will see what the rest holds, but for now the spotlight is on Tom McDonnell, who takes his 3rd ISRAIC victory, his first since season 6, round number 1. It's been a little bit of a wait for his 3rd victory, but nonetheless a very impressive record, and he becomes, of course, the 2nd Macca Motorsport driver to win a race and joins his brother in that feat this season. As we look at our top 3, Tom McDonnell then, we had a fantastic weekend to claim P1 ahead of Gareth Lennon P2 and Ed Cantwell in P number 3. That's the big winner here this afternoon. Ed Cantwell gains another 15 points on Elliot Hall to reduce that deficit and put him just 2 points behind going into the next round. I can't wait to see how that plays out, and I get the feeling he might not be the only one who can challenge. I still think some people with some good results here this afternoon, Craig, such as Andrew Pavia and Craig McDonnell, are still going to have a chance next time out.
Yeah, as we said before, all the way through this race, Elliot Hall and Jack Tolchard really opened the door to all these other drivers today. They've put masses of points down. As we can see there, Elliot Hall just rounding out, just missing out on that 1 point today. But it's really opened the door for anybody to come into the last race of the season and really stamp a marker on saying, hey, that championship's for the taking, I'm here to take it. So
it has been a very difficult second half to the season for Elliot Hall. He's had a lot of misfortune, he's had accidents, he's had mistakes, and today he just didn't have the pace to break into the top 10. Jack Tolchard in a similar position could only manage P12, so he won't put any points on the board today either. So the people who came into this round in 1st and 2nd will not be leaving it in such a cheery mood. Reinhard Ecker does not score any points, and then Callum Spence climbs up to P14. It's a good result in itself, but unfortunately does not reward any points. Joshua Wood and Colin McAllister went at it all day long, and then Jonathan Guerrero and Christian Braslov round out your finishers for this afternoon. Olaf Obven, Douglas Anderson, Marcus Townend and Philip Blum all becoming casualties on the early stages of this lap, 3 of them on the very first lap. But I'm sure you all can't wait to see those drivers' standings. I'm sure they'll be coming very shortly. But wow, I mean, that's just a fantastic race. Tomas really has secured its spot as a fan favourite, I think, this afternoon. And there it is in black and white, Craig. Elliot Hall will go into the final round with just 2 points to Ed Cantwell. And then behind them is a bit of a tall order, but it's a 12-point gap, or still a 14-point gap to the lead for Jack Tolchard. Craig McDonnell, though, right there, and Andrew Pavia right there. And I can now confirm that we have eliminated that 6th spot. So it's now just down to the top 5 drivers, Craig, who can take race victories. In the form of Andrew Pavia and Craig McDonnell, they're going to have to hope for a little bit of luck on their side, but they're still in it. But all eyes will be on the 2 E's of Elliot Hall and Ed Cantwell.
As I said during the race, I'd really love to be applying the wall in Nemesis paddock over this next couple of weeks up until to the final race. You know, Elliot Hall, he said he's never been in this position before, and just to see how he's going to deal with pressure. But as you can see, as you said, we've got obviously Marcus Townend over 6 on 58, Gareth Lennon there on some bikes. 11th, we've got Joshua Wood on 35, along with Tom McDonnell and Zach Slater. Christian Razaloff finishing is currently 14th on 34, with Douglas Anderson on 32. Reinhard Ecker with Team Disconnect on 27, and then we've got Craig Evans on 25, and then Kevin Jacobs, Callum Spencer, and Jonathan Carrero rounding out the field.
Absolutely, so very close for 11th all the way down to 15th. There is literally 2 points separating those drivers, so this is very interesting because we're paying a lot of attention to the Drivers' Championship, Craig, but there is a very heated and close teams battle going on as well, as we see Philip Blum and Colin McAllister are the final two on the grid. Glad to see everyone score points this season now, at least we can say that. Colin McAllister, my heart still breaks for him. He absolutely was on course to win his first rating in a long time in the last round, but it wasn't meant to be, and now he languishes in a position that does not reflect his season fully, I don't think. But here is that team's championship. I was talking about SimStaff have built quite a decent gap over the last couple of races, thanks to Jack Tolchard and Josh Martin respectively. But Team Disconnect are now up in P2 with 111 points. Maka Motorsport are there with 104. JR Mobile 1, 102. Nemesis Racing have fallen from 1st to 5th in a single afternoon, and then Scuderia Alitalia just a little bit further back as well. So I think anyone again in that top 6 of teams is still in with a shout as well, Craig.
Yeah, like you said, Maka Motorsport have jumped from, they were 6th, to be fair, before the start of the race, and now they've jumped all the way up into 3rd, essentially pretty much doubling their points almost to get the way up there. And again, it takes, you just get both drivers scoring really high next race. Anybody could walk away with these Drivers' Championships, don't we?
Absolutely, there is 2 championships that are closer than ever, and they both get decided at one last final outing next time in Brazil. Do not miss it. Thank you so much, Craig, for the final commentary with us along for Season 7, and I'm sure I will see you watching eagerly to find out how this championship resolves in the interests of Maka Motorsport next time out in Brazil. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, there is one round to go. Do not miss it. Will it be Elliot Hall? Will it be Ed Cantwell? Will it be someone else? You'll just have to tune in to find out. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.